Very good morning, all. A very good morning, all. So let's continue with your chapter number one of DBMS subject. So quickly give me the definition of database management system. Anyone? Quickly give me the definition of database management system (DBMS). What do you mean by DBMS? I want quick answer. A very quick answer of what do you mean by database management system? Platform which allows us to manage and manipulate the data. A software to manage the data. A system which manages the data and its storage. Okay, great. So very quickly give me the advantages of database management system. What are the advantages of database management system? Advantages of database management system. Okay, easy manipulation of data, then backup. Okay, then security, atomicity, reliability and consistency. Very good. Yes, be quick. Whatever are the disadvantages of file processing system will be the advantages of DBMS. Integrity, easy access, manipulation. Very good. Okay. Fine. So what is a three level architecture? Give me the layers name. All the three layers name. Provide me the three level architectures name. Name of the all the levels or layers. Okay, external level, conceptual level or internal level, right? Then external level can also be known as view level, conceptual level can also be known as logical level, and internal level can also be known as physical level. So what are the use of each level? Give me in brief each and every level's use or its working. What does view level do? What does logical level do? And what does physical level do? Yes, view level deals with the user and its data. Very good. Then external level is for the users which are accessing the info. Yes, Rahul. What about conceptual or logical level? Yes. How to store the data, that will be decided by the conceptual level or logical level of the architecture. And what about physical level? Actually stores the data. Very good. So we can say what type of data to be stored, how the data to be stored, and where the data to be stored. So now whenever we are dealing with how to store the data, what actually it means, what actually it provides us, what actually it provides us, sorry, tables, or we can say structure or schema of the database or data. Structure or schema. Yes, Pooja, very good. So next, whenever we are talking about any particular application level architecture, we have two types of architecture, two tier and three tier architecture. So what do you mean by two tier architecture? What do you mean by two tier architecture? Yeah, quickly give me the answer of this. What do you mean by two tier architecture of the application? Application is directly interacting with the database, right? So what are the advantages? very fast communication. What will be disadvantage? There can be unauthorized access to the database. There can be the possibility of unauthorized access to the database. And if the number of users increases, then the performance may degrade. The performance can be worsen or worst, right? Okay, then what about three-tier architecture? What do you mean by three-tier architecture? What do you mean by three-tier architecture? There is a server between the application and the database which communicates with the application as well as which communicates with the database. So it is working as a middleware or a bridge between the client's application and the database. So what is the advantage of it? What can be the advantage of it? Security, yes. High performance, very good. And what can be the disadvantage of it? What can be the disadvantage of this? Complexity and extra maintenance of the server, very good. And then we are talking about data independence. So we have physical data independence and logical data independence. So what do you mean by that thing? What do you mean by physical data independence? What do you mean by physical data independence? Physical data independence. Okay, Pooja, right? Allows the user to enter any type of data relevant to the database requirement, or allows the user to modify any type of data based on database requirement, right? Very good. And what about logical data independence? What do you mean by logical data independence? Yes, exactly. To modify or change the actual schema or the structure of the database or table. So that, let us say we want to change a particular column, we want to add a particular column to the structure of the database. So we call it as logical data independence. That means a user is allowed to change the data as well as the structure of the table after it has been created. So that is what physical and logical data independence is. Now what do you mean by DDL? What do you mean by DDL and why we use it? What do you mean by DDL and why do we use it? Okay, DDL stands for data definition language. Now why do we use it? Or what is the main use of it? The main use of data definition language is it is dealing with the structure or the schema of the table or database. So we are actually working on the outline of the particular database. Okay. Then comes, what do you mean by DML? What do you mean by DML and what is the use of it? DML stands for data manipulation language. And what is the use of it? It deals with the values of the table. Either we insert the records, we change the records, or delete the records, or fetch the records. Very good. What do you mean by DCL? Data control language. Okay, and what is the use of data control language? Dealing with the controlling of the data or database. Either you provide the permission to some other users to use your data, or you take back all the permissions from the user to now not to use any of your data. So that is what controlling. We have two commands, grant and revoke, right? Very good. And what do you mean by TCL? TCL, transaction control language. And what are the commands and use of it? Managing the complete operations of database. So once the operation is executed successfully, it is giving commit command. Then if there is some error and failure, then we roll back, and it uses checkpoints or save points for database recovery, right? Okay. And then what are the four main types of users of database? What are the main four types of users in general? Give me the name of the users. The last topic that we covered in the last lecture. Types of users. Okay, application programmer, then specialized users, okay, naive users, and last one is the fourth one, DB administrator or database administrator. Okay, so what do you mean by application programmer? What do you mean by application programmer? Right, it writes the main programming or codes for application using some high level languages like Java, PHP, etc. Okay, so it is the main task of application programmer is to write down the programs for the application. Then what do you mean by specialized users? What do you mean by specialized users? Yes, the specialized users mainly write down the special operations of database so that the application can work smoothly. Very good. Okay. And then what about naive users? Yeah, the naive users mainly uses the application, right? With the end users, the people for which the application has been developed, those people are using the applications. Okay, and then we are now going to talk about the database administrator. From there we are left, right? So let me just present my screen and let's start with the database administrator. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone, and let's continue with the users. So as we said, application programmers write down the application or programs using some high level languages. Then specialized users mainly write down the database operations or database specialized codes. Then naive users are the end users, that means us who are going to use the applications actually. And then now comes the database administrator. So database administrator controls the overall database. What is its task? The task of the database administrator is to control the overall operations of the database or overall database, right? So let's see, what does database administrator do? So these are the role of database administrator. The first one is schema definition. It means it mainly deals with creating the database. It mainly deals with DDL, data definition language. It creates the schema for database, or it creates the schema for the tables of the database. Then it deals with storage structure and access method definition. Storage structure means how a data is to be stored in a particular database. It deals with that structure of that storage, right? And access method definition, that means which users will be having the access to which type of data. Let us say administrator will be having the access to the all the types of data, then some specific users will be having access to some specific types of data only. So all the types of access will be decided by the database administrator. So it will decide how the data will be stored and what type of data will be accessed to what type of different users. So decides how the data is to be represented and how to access it. So who will be accessing it and how the data will be accessed by the user. Next, defining the security to the database and integrity constraints to the database. So what do you mean by integrity constraint? Very quickly, I want the answer of this. What do you mean by integrity constraint? What do you mean by integrity constraint? I want the answer very quickly. Ritesh, not exactly. Still, I want the exact answer. What do you mean by integrity constraint? No, not managing the data actually. Yes, satisfying all the conditions of the database. Very good, Janvi. So integrity constraint means conditional data, right? So defining the security to a particular database and providing or implementing the conditions on a particular database. So we want to say that this particular data should be based on this particular condition, or I would say this particular data should be more than 500. This particular data should be in only characters. This particular data should be only in uppercase or should be in only numbers. So these are the conditions that we need to impose on a particular data. So that part is also managed by database administrator, DBA. So defining security as well as integrity constraints. Now then, what is the fourth role? Granting of authorization for data access. So it will also manage the authorization and authentication of the users. So which users will be having an authorize or authority to access or use a particular database. So it will be decided by database administrator. So main four are schema definition, storage structure and access method definition, defining security and integrity constraints, and defining the authorization of our data access. Other than this, we have four more rules. Liaison with users. So it is going to interact or communicate with the application programmers so that the database can be created in an efficient way. So that is why it has been written like liaison with the users. So it is mainly going to interact with application programmers, as well as we can say it is going to interact with specialized users, so that whatever application is being developed by them, it is in efficient way. It is being developed in an efficient way. So similarly, we can say assisting application programmer. So liaison with the users is also connected with this particular role, that is assisting application programmer. So it helps the application programmer with the database so that application programmer can develop an efficient application. Then monitoring the performance of the database is also one of the role of database administrator. And last one is backup and recovery of the database. So the database administrator has to regularly take the backup of the database, and whenever there is a failure in the database, he or she should be able to recover the database. So these are the some of the roles of database administrator. We can quietly revise it very quickly. Schema definition, storage structure and access data definition or access method definition. Then database security and integrity constraints, authorization of data access, liaison with the users, interacting or assisting with application programmer, monitoring the performance, and backup and recovery. So these are the main roles of DBA. These are the main roles of DBA. So students, just go through the roles once again, and if you have any doubts, please tell me. We are first going for the first 4 roles. If you have any doubts in this, just tell me. Yeah, please go through the first 4 and then I will go for next 4. So these are the next 4. Yeah, any doubts, anyone in any of the roles? If you have, please raise it. Any doubts? Anyone? Yes, anyone? Any doubts? So let's revise them very quickly once more. Schema definition means designing the schema of a database. Storage structure means it will decide how and where a database will be stored. Access method definition means it is going to decide how a particular data will be accessed from the database. So these are the 3 roles main. Then fourth role is defining the security. So it will define some type of security on a database so that the data will be secured, as well as it won't be lost or it won't be accessed by unauthorized people. Integrity constraints means we can say the conditions that can be implied or imposed on a database for a typical type of data to be stored. Granting of authorization, so it will grant authority to only specific users who will be requiring the access to the database. Not every user, but only few users will be given the authority of accessing the database. Then we have liaison with the users and assisting application programmer. So we can say that it will interact with specialized as well as the application programmer who are actually working on application as well as writing specialized operations of database, so that the application that is being built is efficient and proper and consistent, we can say. Then comes monitoring the performance. So the task of the DBA is to monitor the performance. So it will check that whether the database is working smoothly, the operations, the queries or the request the database is getting is being responded in a proper way. So the performance of the overall database will be monitored by this particular DBA. And the last one is the database administrator has to regularly take up the backup of the database that has been created and that is being used by the users. And whenever there is some failure or some problem, the database administrator has to provide the recovery of that particular database. So it can provide the recovery from the backups. So these are the main 9 or 10 roles of database administrator. Any doubts, anyone in this? Anyone is having any doubts in this? Please raise it if you have. Anyone? Any doubts? Shall I repeat again? Shall I repeat again? Okay. So let's continue with the next part. So now we are talking about the overall database architecture and its components. We have seen one architecture, that is physical level, logical level, and the view level, right? But that architecture is known as three-level architecture or ANSYS Spark architecture of database. But now we are talking about one more architecture of the database, and that is mainly dealing with these four components, as you can see: users, query processors, storage manager, and disk storage. So whenever we are talking about three-level architecture: view, logical, and physical, right? So how that architecture is implied actually in the real world scenario, that architecture we are going to see right now, right? So let's see the architecture. So that architecture contains four components. It has users, it has some query processors, it has some storage managers, and it has a disk storage. So let's see each of them and working of each of these components. So the first one. So at the top level we have the four types of users. Here we have naive users, application programmers, sophisticated users, or we can say specialized users, and we have database administrators. So what is the task of each of them? Naive user mainly uses the application, so it will have a GUI on which it is going to work, right? So naive users uses application interfaces. Then application programmer writes the application program using some high level language. Then sophisticated users or specialized users uses some query tools, so they mainly use some tools to write down the specialized or special database operations. So we are using query tools for it. And database administrator uses administration tool to create the database schema, to manage the security, to manage the access of the data, to manage the authorization of the data, to backup and recover the data. So it is using some administration tool for managing the database in an efficient way. So in the first phase of the architecture we have the users and its usage. Any doubt in here? Any doubt in this? Anyone? We have just talked about the users and their usage. Now let's go for the next part. In the next part we have query processor, right? And what is the task of query processor? It mainly deals with execution of DDL and DML statements. So what are the statements or what are the commands in DDL and DML? Anyone? Very quickly give me the answer of this. What are the commands comes under DDL and DML? I want the answer very quickly. Commands of DDL and DML. Commands of DDL and DML. Okay, create, alter, drop is the commands of DDL, and insert, update, delete, and select are the commands of DML. Right, so what it says, mainly it deals with the execution of create, alter, drop, insert, update, delete and select commands. So query processor is the component which actually executes and performs all the database operations. So what it does, let's see. So here application program will be having some programs in the backend. It will be having some insert, update, delete, create, alter, drop and select commands. So that commands will be executed by this query processor, right? Similarly, the application programmer will use compiler and linker to compile their codes and get executed by query processors. Then specialized users will be using some type of DML queries to write down the specialized operations of database, and database administrator will be using the DDL, that means alter, drop and create commands to create the database schema, and all these will be managed by query processor. All these will be managed by query processor. So everything is managed by query processor, and this query processor is having query evaluation engine. What it has? It has query evaluation engine. So if nav user is using some application interface, it will provide all its requests to query evaluation engine. The sophisticated user and database administrator also will be providing its request to query evaluation engine. Now this engine is mainly responsible for communicating with the database and taking all the requests of all the users to the database and getting back all the responses from the database and giving back to all the users. So this component, let me highlight this particular component here. This component is the most important component of query processor. What it does, it takes all the requests from the users, from all these users to the database and takes back the response from the database and gives it back to the users. So this is the middleware of our particular architecture. Now what is the task of query evaluation engine? Let's see. It executes low level instructions generated by DML compiler. So it is mainly going to execute all the instructions getting from all these types of users. And what it does, let's see. So it communicates with the storage manager. So the database will have a storage manager before the actual data storage or hard disk. So what is storage manager? Storage manager provides the interface between the data stored and the application. So wherever the data is stored and wherever the application is being running or executing, it is the interface between that two components, our application and the actual data storage. So what does the storage manager has? The storage manager has transaction manager, which actually manages the complete operation of the database. Then it has authorization and integrity manager. So it is mainly checking whether the request that is being sent by the user, whether that user is valid or not. That means that user has an access to the database or not. Then it has a file manager. It is going to have some types of files being managed by the query evaluation engine, and it has the buffer manager. So buffer manager also communicates with the query evaluation engine. So query evaluation engine mainly communicates with buffer manager, file manager, authorization manager and transaction manager. So now Whenever the request of database access is being given, it will be checked by authorization manager and it will be managed by transaction manager. But all the requests to the database will be taken by either buffer manager or file manager. Initially it will be taken by file manager to the database. So we have the database at the last, and actually it has these many components. So file manager mainly communicates with the data actually stored in disk storage. File manager mainly fetches the data from the database which is being stored at a physical location, and buffer manager also fetches the data from the database. Because what is the use of buffer manager here? Let us say I am requesting some particular type of data like name, address and phone number of the student. So at the first time, whenever the request has been sent, the request will be sent to file manager, right? And it will fetch the data from the database. Along with this, the data will be fetched by buffer manager also. So now whenever I am requesting again the same data, that is the name, address and mobile number of the student, then the file manager will not work, but the data will be directly fetched from buffer manager. So it increases the performance of the query execution. That is what the task of buffer manager is. If the same data is being requested by the same user, then do not use file manager to fetch the data from the database, but directly provide that data from the buffer manager. So this is the use of buffer manager. So these all four components makes our architecture. These four components makes the architecture. Users are mainly giving the request. The requests are mainly used at the user side. The requests are managed by query evaluation engine, and at the database side all the request of the user is managed by storage manager. So query evaluation engine communicates with storage manager, and storage manager actually gets the data as requested by the user and gives it back to the query evaluation engine. So this is what the architecture of database is. Students, just go through this architecture for next 2 to 3 minutes, and if you have any doubt, please raise it. So this is the architecture. I already described what are the tasks of each of them. So just go through it once, and if you have any doubts, tell me. So this is what the architecture looks like. So now you can refer it quite easily. Please go through this architecture, take your own time, understand each and every part. If you have any queries in any of the part, just tell me where you are facing a problem. Give me a moment, I am presenting my screen. Yeah. Please go through this architecture. If it is requiring any repetition, just tell me, sir, repeat. I will repeat it again. Okay, let me repeat it again. So again, let us see. Let me try to explain it here only. I'm not going for the slideshow, right? See, naive users, application programmers, specialized users, and database administrators. So these are the main users which are dealing with the application. Now, what is the use of each of them? Naive user is using the application. Application programmer is writing some applications. Sophisticated or specialized users will be writing some specialized database operations, and database administrator will be dealing with the schema and the security of the database. Is this clear first of all, Viraj? The first part of the database architecture, right? Now see what actually, let us say you are using the Facebook, right? So if you click somewhere on the Facebook, your request will be given to some server of the database or the Facebook, right or no? Yes or no? If you click somewhere on the particular Facebook, your request will be taken to the server of the Facebook, yes or no? Even if you write down your username and password and click on sign in, your request of signing will be taken somewhere to your server, right? So what actually it is using, see, this nav user using the application interface, the GUI of the application, and giving that request, whatever GUI you are using, all the requests are being taken to some code, the code that is being written in the backend, right? Till here it is clear? Okay, then application programmer. Application programmer has already written this code. So they are going to use the compiler or linker to compile their codes and execute it, right? So whatever code has been written in Java or in C or in PHP, all the codes will be compiled for execution. Am I clear with this? The next part? Everyone, I am repeating for everyone, not only for Viraj. So everyone just tell me if you have any queries in this part right now. Then next says sophisticated users is using some query tools, and they are writing some queries of data manipulation language. So they are writing some specialized queries of inserting, updating, deleting or fetching the data. Let us assume that. So they are writing, specialized users are writing the DML queries. And at last, database administrator is using administration tool and writing the data definition language queries. That means alter, create and drop. So what actually all four users are doing, they are providing some requests. Nav user is providing the request of using the application. Application programmer is requesting for compiling the codes they have written. Sophisticated user is providing the request of executing the insert, update and delete queries, and database administrator is providing the request of creating, altering or deleting a particular table or a database. So this is what all the requests being made by all four users. Till now, is it clear? Or any doubts? Anyone? I am waiting for 2 minutes more. If anyone has doubt in the first part, just tell me right now. Is it require repetition again? Okay, so what this query processor does now, all the requests are given to the query processor, and that query processor has query evaluation engine, right? This query evaluation engine takes all the requests being available from all the types of users. So this query evaluation engine gets all the requests of each type of work from the users. So query processor has a particular component called query evaluation engine, which is taking the requests of all the users. So query processor works as a middleware from the user side. So user is having one bridge or some middleware called query processor for executing all its queries, and that component that executes all its requests is known as query evaluation engine. Still here, is it clear? Query evaluation engine is taking all the requests that is to be executed from by the user. Right, now what does this query evaluation engine does? Query evaluation engine mainly communicates with the storage manager. Now what is storage manager? Storage manager is a middleware for database, actual database. wherever the database is being stored, above that there is one component called storage manager, which actually communicates with the query processor or query evaluation engine, so that it can get all the requests from query evaluation engine, and based on that request it can get the relevant data for the user. So storage manager acts as a middleware from database side, right? Storage manager acts as a middleware from database side, and query processor acts as a middleware from user side. So these are the two main differentiations. Clear with this? Right. Now what does this storage manager has? It has transaction manager. So transaction manager actually manages the complete database operations and all the requests of the users. Then we have authorization and integrity manager. So this particular component actually checks whether the request that is being sent by the user, whether that user is authorized or not, whether that user is authorized or not. So this will check the authorization of the user. Then we have a file manager. So file manager manages the allocation of space on disk storage. So whatever request has been sent by the user, for that request we need to occupy some space in our disk or database. So that management is done by the file manager. And buffer manager mainly fetches the data from the disk storage, and it also tries to capture the data or the request, so that the performance of the database can be improved. Let's see this in detail now. So file manager allocates the memory to the request, and buffer manager fetches the data from the database and store it in the memory that is being given by the file manager. So these are the components of storage manager that are communicating with the user's request actually. Clear with this part or any doubts? Clear with the parts of storage manager? Okay, so now this storage manager actually communicates with the disk storage, that means the actual data. So whenever the request is being sent by the query evaluation engine, that request will be taken by the file manager and buffer manager, and file manager and buffer manager together fetches the data from the database and provides it back to the query evaluation engine, and ultimately it gets back the data to the user. So these two main components is mainly responsible for fetching the data from the database. Now again, let us say the same request has been sent by the user for a same type of data. So at that time memory will not be given, memory space will not be occupied with that particular request, but what it will do, it will directly fetch the data from the buffer, right? So for the same type of request, the memory is not being allocated, it is directly being given the response in form of data from the buffer manager. So that is the main use of buffer manager. If the same request is being sent by the user, don't provide the new memory space for performing the database operation, but use the buffer manager and provide the data directly from it. So this is what the use of buffer manager is, right? So the database actually has data dictionary, so it stores the data about the data or metadata, and it stores some types of statistical data. So what type of data is being used or being requested very frequently, what type of data is not at all being requested by the user. So all the types of statistics is being managed by this statistical data, but the main part is our this data. It is the main part of disk storage. So this is what the architecture is. Am I clear now, or still it is, you are having any doubt? Please raise it. Anyone, any doubts in this? Please raise it if you have. Anyone? Any doubts? Okay, then let's continue. So this is what the architecture we have seen. Now let's see some of the MCQs. So I need the answers from you. The view of the total database content is which view? In which particular level we can see the complete database structure? Give me the answer of this. We can see the complete structure of the database in which level of 3-layer architecture? Give me the answer for this. Okay. Yes, the answer will be conceptual level. A, logical level. Logical level describes the schema or the structure of the database. Right, very good. So next question. The security feature of the database are set up by which of the users? Which user sets up the security feature of the database? Very good. B, database administrator. Very good. Next. Which of the following are the roles of database administrator? Is it A, is it ABC, or is it ABD, or all of them? What are the roles of database administrator? Your answers are wrong. Answer will be C, ABD. Database administrator does not develop application programs. Remember this thing. Database developers or database administrator does not create or write any application program. So answer will be A, managing security issues, B, storage structure definition, and D, take backups of the database. It won't perform this particular task. Right? Clear? Okay, next question. Typically, a database management system is managed by a person called. Typically, database management system is managed by a person called database administrator. D. Right, very good. Next question. The database environment has all of these following components except which component? Which of the component is not the part of database architecture or database environment? Which component is not the part of database environment or database architecture? I am getting some mixed answers. Yes, very good. We don't have separate files in database architecture. We have the users at the top, we have database at the bottom, and we have database administrator at the top. So answer will be B, that is separate files. Very good. So these are some of the important questions. This is for GTU, not for you. But yes, if you have the theory exams, then this can be the important questions for your particular examination. So list and explain advantages of DBMS, draw and explain 3-level architecture of DBMS, list and explain categories of database users, roles of DBA, and complete database architecture. So these are the most important questions for your theory examination. And these are the books that you can refer if you want. This is the godfather of this particular subject, that is database. You can use Database System Concepts by Henry Korth or Silberschatz. This is the best book for database. If you want to learn database thoroughly, you can use this book. This is also one of the best books of database, but this language of this book is very tough. So we do not prefer this particular book. So we can prefer this book for learning the database, Henry Korth. And if you want to perform the practical, then for practical performance, this book is the best one. This book you can refer for practical performance. Right? So I already uploaded this PPT on your e-content, I think so. Yes or no? Has anyone seen? I uploaded this PPT on your e-content. If not, I will see if I uploaded or not. I will upload it. I will upload it today, don't worry. So I am going to upload this PPT today. So go through it, and if you still have any doubts, please raise that doubt either in your lab or in the next lecture. Right, so we are ending this session here, students. Thank you very much. You can leave this meeting. We are ending this session here. Thank you very much, guys.